when I say no is a complete sentence, sometimes you add a little bit to it, but it doesn't have to be an explanation. You don't have to provide a rationale for why you're saying no. You're allowed to say no. I mean, everybody listening, I'm giving you permission that when something is not what you want, not bringing you closer to your goals, not energizing you, you have my permission to say no. And welcome to the No Limits podcast with Kristen Andre. We are here today with my fabulous sidekick, the marvelous Miss Mendoza. And today we're doing another No Filter episode. So we've been, for those of you guys tuning in, we've been tackling different topics. We're going to keep bringing you some guests, but Miss Mendoza and I here are going to address the topics that we're hearing from you guys are important, things you want to talk about, or it may just be things we want to talk about. Because sometimes there's just things out there that we're like, you know what, they're just bugging me a little bit. We're going to talk about them. So today's topic is the word no. And how no is a complete statement. No is a complete sentence.
No. N-O.
N-O. Because I feel like first of all, we don't say no enough. We talked about that on our last episode, that we say yes way more than we should. And we should be saying no. But frequently when we say no, we feel the need to just explain ourselves. So we're not able to just say, no, I don't want to do that. Or no. And we just go into this diatribe about how we explain it.
No needs no explanation.
No needs no explanation. So have you seen that play? Like, do you find yourself doing that first and foremost?
Yes. I feel like I have to justify why I'm telling you no.
Okay. So I think that's the thing is most people feel like they do have to justify.
Yeah.
And so last time on our last No Filter episode, we were talking about the art of caring or not caring, not giving the F's and the beeps where they don't need to be. And I think that's a lot of it is we feel like we have to justify. We feel like we have to say, here's why. No, but, or no, here's why. So why do you do that?
The first reason is because I know you're going to ask.
What if I don't ask?
So
so that's a good question. Do you wait and explain when somebody asks, or do you just preempt it and say no? Blah 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 blah.
I usually just preempt it. Like here, this is a great example.
Okay,
just happened to me a couple of minutes ago.
Okay,
I got a Slack message. Somebody asked if I could call them, and I did better on this one, probably because we're in here. But I said I'm available at 4 p.m.
Perfect. Okay.
Because
you knew we were going to be talking about this topic.
Probably. Because I could have, but I'm waiting for her to be like, what about 3 p.m.? Or can you just call me now? Or, but you're slacking me, so can't you just call me?
Yeah. All right, but why? Do you think she's thinking that?
Yes.
No. All right. Not knowing the person. Yeah, we're both going, yes. All right, so not knowing the person. But, I mean, does it matter? Like, if you can't call her now, you can't call her now.
Well, in this particular situation, because I'm slacking her like in between breaks, like because we do take bathroom breaks around here, and
we do
food and drink water.
All right, by eat food, we eat chocolate.
I did have a chocolate.
Yeah.
So I had in that moment the 5 seconds that it took me to say, hey, I'm available at 4. Does that work for you? So I am slacking her, which that's a obvious thing that she'd be like, well, you're slacking me. Why can't you just call me? But maybe you don't know that I'm in the podcast studio and I can't talk to you right now. And that could be the case, even if I wasn't on camera, if I would, because sometimes I'll sit back there with Isaac, and you still can't have a phone conversation while you're back there.
But you know what? Here's the thing. So let me ask you this.
Okay.
Are you more concerned with her thinking you're busy, or are you concerned with not ticking her off? Because sometimes when we try to explain ourselves after saying no, it's because we're trying to justify. We're trying to justify our reason for not being available.
For this is such a great example. They are a client.
Okay.
And so I don't want them to think that I'm putting something else above them.
Okay.
That's like something's more important than them, right? Like I like to service in the sense of everyone is important.
Okay.
And I want to be able to answer your question as soon as I can. So I don't want to be, well, I'm not available now. I'm doing something else.
So that's a good point. All right. And here's the advice I'm going to give you on that one.
Okay.
Because I completely agree. I like to jump when my clients, because my goal with all of my clients is I want them to be a family. I want to have great relationships with them. I always want to over deliver. So that's why you do that. So I totally get the why.
Yes.
And at the same time, we treat people, or we teach people how to treat us, and we teach them what to expect from us.
Yes.
So if they're always expecting she's going to email back or Slack back the second I email her, then you're going to feel the need to explain yourself. But this is where, especially in a professional setting, at the beginning, when you take on a new client, I always like to say, hey, I will, call or text me anytime. If I'm not on the phone with another client or in a meeting, I will pick up. If I can't, I'll get back to you my first break. So I let them know that up front. I also have a couple different methods of communication where they can get a hold of me, leave me voicemail, send me text, whatever, that I can get to, when I have breaks. But I think part of it is saying, hey, I'm going to be available for you whenever you need me, but it may not always be that second. So it's setting some expectations around, I can't always jump on the phone right now.
Yeah, that's good.
But the other part you said about like, well, he's probably thinking, or she's probably thinking, well, she's slacking me, why can't she call? Stop when you said she's probably thinking. You don't know what she's thinking or he's thinking, because I'll shoot text messages take me 2 seconds to send, right? I mean, they really do. You can send a text message. You can send a text message while you're on the phone with somebody.
Yeah.
But they don't take that long to send. But what's interesting is if I pick up the phone, we got 3 minutes of going, how you doing? How's your day? But I don't have time for a phone call. So they're probably not thinking, why can't she just call me?
Okay.
Quit. You're guilting yourself. But I mean, the reason I say that is because, I poke fun at it, but we all do it. Yeah. We all do it.
Well, and I'm also very aware of where I'm at in that moment. Because, for example, let's pretend we were out at lunch and weren't doing a podcast.
Right.
That would also be disrespectful to you for me to be like, you know what, we're sharing time together. Yeah. But just a minute, because I've got someone who wants me to call them. Yes.
And that happens occasionally, because I've had that happen where I know I've had a hard to reach client. I knew they were going to call, and I will, if we go to lunch and I'm like, ooh, and I'll tell them, I'll say, hey, if you don't mind, I need to leave my phone out because I'm expecting this call. We've been trading phone calls. It will not be more than 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And most time, as long as you've told them ahead of time, they're very respectful of that. I've done that if I know I have a sick child or anything, or if I have a client that I've been playing phone tag with. It's just setting the expectations. It's letting people know I'm going to be totally respectful of your time and all over trying to help you. But, there are going to be some times where it's not immediate.
Sure.
So frequently we set ourselves up for these things. Don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah, and most of mine am trying not to communicate that. I don't ever want someone to think that I'm too busy for them.
Right. Oh, of course not. Yeah. No, and that's good, because especially in the business you guys do, but we're not, I text you and send you messages and stuff like that. I'm not expecting a message back, because usually, if we're being quite honest, I'm usually sending them in between stuff too.
Yeah.
So I may be, I get done with a client meeting and I got to jump on another call. I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to text Whitney. I got 2 seconds before my call. I'll send you a text. I don't need an immediate response. If I need one, I'll tell you. I was like, hey, can you get back to me in the next 5 minutes? If you can't, no big, let me know.
Yeah.
But most of the time, everybody's running fast. And so you're putting expectations on yourself that
probably
you're guilting yourself into this, girl. It happens. We all do it. So, all right. So but that's kind of the not responding quick.
Yes.
So let's dive into this explaining yourself when you say no. So back to our no is a complete statement. Because I don't know if you see this or not. I feel like women are more guilty of this than men.
I would agree with that.
And I could be way off. And it could be because I work with a lot of high power executive level women. And they do. I'm like, hey, could you do this? Or do you want to go to this event? Or are you available for XYZ? And they're like, oh, I can't because blah, 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 blah. So what is it that makes you feel the need to explain?
Maybe on that one, it could be a value piece. I think it goes back to...
Explain that to me. What do you mean a value piece?
So because I'm not currently a mother, but I have friends who are.
Okay.
And I hope this is not because this is what I radiate, but if they're not available to do something, they'll let me know it's because I've got to do something with the kids.
Okay.
When they don't necessarily have to tell me that.
No, they don't. I don't think they should. I mean, if they want to, that's fine, but it's not required.
Yes. And of course, I'm not going to judge you either way. You just can't do it.
Exactly.
At that time.
But that's what you've got to let go of the, so the no is a complete statement. Like if somebody says, do you want to go to a golf tournament, or do you want to do this charity thing with me? Most people are not going to go, no. They're going to say, no, I'm not available. No, but it's the explaining
or
yourself.
I don't know
like,
what a par 4 is.
You don't know what a par 4 You go to the golf tournament and you bid on the auction items. Whitney, you can do this. No. But I mean, it goes back to, and we've talked about this on here a lot. If it's bringing you closer to your goals or bringing you energy, say yes to it. But if you need to say no, you don't have to. When I say no is a complete sentence, sometimes you add a little bit to it, but it doesn't have to be an explanation. You don't have to provide a rationale for why you're saying no. You're allowed to say no. I mean, everybody listening, I'm giving you permission that when something is not what you want, not bringing you closer to your goals, not energizing you, you have my permission to say no.
Okay, here's another one. Are you ready? I'm being so vulnerable with you right now.
That's good. Bring it on. Bring it on.
I will. So let's say something's going on and we're traveling because 9.5 out of 10 times we are traveling for business. And I feel the need to say that.
That you're traveling for business?
And not for pleasure.
Oh, come on. Whitney Mendoza. So, all right. So let me put on my therapist hat for a minute.
I am such the guinea pig on this episode.
Do you feel like you're not worthy of taking a vacation? Have you not earned a vacation?
I think it goes back to, I don't want anyone to think that anything is above them. You are the most important. Don't worry about me taking a vacation.
The rest of the world never takes a vacation.
Yeah, they're allowed to.
But you're not.
Yeah.
Because the rest of the world's more important than you?
Yeah.
Whitney. But all right, but I mean, you bring up a valid point because I think a lot of people think that. They try to justify, and we're going to talk about that on another episode about, why it's important to treat yourself well and treat yourself better. But people try to justify why they're doing stuff.
Yeah. Well, because everything is not done. Like there's always something to do.
Yeah.
And
for sure. That's why we need friggin' vacations because our list is long, right?
And so we're like, she's taking a vacation and this isn't done.
All right. So who is they? They are saying that. Who is this they?
Anyone not me.
Oh my gosh. But all right. And I'm joking. I'm making light of it. But I think so many people think like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But here's the honest truth is people aren't thinking about you as much as you think they're thinking about you.
Didn't I just say this in another episode?
You did. You were the one that said that, right?
So but now I can't.
You're not following your own advice.
I know that's
right?
True. That's
but and the same thing with me. When I'll say no is a complete statement, I do give a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not explaining it away. I'm not trying. There's a difference between qualifying your no and justifying your no.
I probably got some family members that would like come in our house and be like, they need a clean house instead of taking a vacation.
For sure. But you know what? Set the expectations. Like, so I had a speaking engagement earlier this week. I was in Michigan. So I flew out. I was gone a couple days. My dad came in town to stay with the kids, which is not typical. He's not usually the one that stays with my kids overnight.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there were 4 pages of written instructions. And my dad, my stepmom, I was like, okay, they can do this. They can do this. They can do this. It was so funny. But before, talking about setting expectations, before he got there, I called and said, hey, I've got your typed out instructions written on the table. And I said, just so you know.
The house is a mess.
The kids, this is how my children keep their portion of the house. Mine is fantastic and the place you'll be staying is fantastic, but that's how my kids keep it. So I'm just letting you know before you get there.
Yeah.
And I wasn't trying to justify. I just, I basically said, don't need a lecture or feedback on it. Get that their rooms are a hot mess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So it's, and he was like, and what was funny is I felt the need to tell him because I didn't want him to get there and go, oh my gosh, her house is disgusting. And it really wasn't. It's the kids' rooms are disgusting. Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. But I felt the need to tell him that. And what was funny is I told him, he's like, okay. I mean, he didn't care. It did not matter to him that tornadoes had gone off in my children's rooms, just because it wasn't like what was important to me or what I thought would have been important to him wasn't. He was excited about getting to see the kids. He's like, I talked to him afterwards. I had so much fun doing homework with the kids. I'm like, what? Who has fun doing homework with the kids?
It's awesome.
But it's true. Like what I thought he needed justification and explanation on, he didn't need. And it's the same thing with somebody. If they ask you to do something, now, if they're a client, you know what you need to do for them, right? But you've got to set your client expectations. I'll tell people I'm available. You can call me at any time. I'm not going to get right back to you, but I will absolutely be back with you within 24 hours, whatever your time frame is.
So that's good. So I feel like that's a good tip of what you just said is allow yourself 24 hours, right? Anybody can
set the
do
expectations.
Anything within 24 hours.
Correct. And there may be projects that require a shorter time frame. There may be situations or, like if anybody listens to a surgeon and you have to be at the hospital in 30 minutes, that's different. But most of the time we're putting undue pressure and time frames on ourselves that we created, not the other person.
And part of it's even because when I'm hearing kind of an overall theme that you're saying a lot is it's communication.
Total communication.
Even if there's a question about a project and the project itself can't be completed in that time, but you can respond and say, got your message.
Correct.
Working on this.
Correct.
We'll have an answer to you here. It's going to take this amount of time.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's communication because if you're, a lot of my clients I talk with frequently, I have some clients that I'm working on strategy or projects for them, and I always send them an update. And even my financial clients, I'll tell them, I'm like, you know what? Communicate with your clients. Let them know, if you're rolling over some money for them and they've been waiting 2 weeks and haven't heard from you, call them, say, hey, just want to let you know everything's been submitted. We're still waiting on the funds to be transferred over. Give them a 2-minute update. And that's usually what people need. But we spend all this time explaining, so that's a little bit different than saying no, but it's the same concept as we explain things that had we just set expectations with earlier, we wouldn't have to explain.
That's preaching right there.
I'm preach, but but then the no is a different thing. That can be a little different. Now,
okay.
Here's what's funny because sometimes no requires a little bit more. It is a complete statement, but you can say, be respectful. Do you want to go to this event? No, I have another commitment. You don't have to say, no, I have another commitment. I promised my daughter 5 weeks ago that I would take her to get her hair cut. But you don't have to do that. No, I have a prior commitment. Because sometimes do you want to go? Nope. That may be a little short. So you want to make sure you're respectful and curt, but you don't owe anybody an explanation. Unless it's your boss. You might owe your boss an explanation, but it's still ways to kind of manage the expectations for them.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So pulling in some other themes that we've talked about recently on the podcast. So caring, not caring.
Yep.
You gave a really awesome example of the kids are going to school, holiday parties coming up, and you're not really good at baking, but you're going to send the plates and the cups.
I will send the plates and the cups. Yep.
That the baking can be held on.
Yeah.
Walk me through that. Walk me through, I'm a mom and I'm going to have to explain, no, I can't bake the cookies because I'm not really good at cooking. Because then everyone's going to think the kids don't eat well. They're eating mac and cheese because you're not a good cook. That means you're not cooking dinner.
And here's the real statement. Here's the real truth. They do eat mac and cheese. And I'm perfectly okay with that. And guess what? They're my kids. So do they eat nutritious meals every night of the week? Nope. Because some nights of the week we are running between practices, and that's okay. But do they eat healthy? Are they fed? Do I give them fruits and vegetables? Absolutely. But some nights, are we mac and cheesing it in the car on the way to karate practice? Yep.
Yeah.
But I think that's the difference is I'm owning the fact that that's how it is. And honestly, if I'm telling the truth, and you moms out there listening can comment on this or not, momhood is not a Pinterest board. It's just not. It is messy sometimes.
That is a t-shirt.
Yeah. Can we make that?
That is a t-shirt.
Motherhood is not a Pinterest board. It's true. There are, I'll put great pictures of my kids online, and just because they're cruddy pictures of them where they look like hot messes, they don't want those out there. They're like, they're probably the funniest. I should start posting, but they definitely have non-nutritious food. I put, but when Dad was babysitting, he's like, I noticed you put, had a lot of chips and cookies for their snacks. I'm like, because they're friggin' 10. That's what they eat. Yeah. There's also an apple in there, or banana, or some carrot sticks. But, quit. I think we just got to quit feeling guilty. I mean, we feel guilty to say no. We feel guilty. I do what's within my skill set, and I do the best I can. And I think the thing that kids need more than bento boxes full of beautifully decorated nutritious food is they need parents to show up and to love them. And so I'm not volunteering for every activity at school because quite honestly, my schedule won't allow it. But I set expectations, like we were talking about communication with clients. My kids know I will be at every event, recital, competition they're at, period. And I always do one party, field trip, whatever a year. They know that. They know I'm going to show up for that, and they get to pick it. So I'm still able to be involved, but I'm able to be involved and commit in a way that I know that fits my skill set, my schedule, their schedule, and kind of what they're looking for. Like they drive that. Like they know, hey, I want you to come to this, or we're going to. I chaperoned the field trip to the Georgia Aquarium with my daughter a few years ago. Whew, that was a handful. That was harder than rounding up clients. Is keeping track of all these little elementary kids running around the aquarium, but it's setting expectations, and it's letting go of the guilt that you feel from other people. Are there going to be people out here that read this and post and say, oh my gosh, I can't believe you feed your kids mac and cheese with 5 different postings of, what's bad about it? Yep. And that's okay. Because I'm not feeding them every meal, but sometimes it happens. Yeah. I strive to be the best I can and the best for my kids, but I can't be perfect. None of us can. And I think if we are holding ourselves up to that, then shame on us.
Yeah.
And if we're judging others because they're not perfect or because they're falling short in maybe 1 or 2 areas where they're crushing it in 99 others, shame on us for making them feel guilty.
Yeah.
That's my preach. Motherhood is not a Pinterest board.
That's good. We're going to totally make that a t-shirt.
We're going to do a t-shirt. Nice. It's going to have to be in black if I'm going to.
That's fine.
Not really a t-shirt girl, but yeah, exactly.
So how do we say no, Kristen?
It goes back, like I said at the beginning, setting expectations, knowing what is important. Well, first and foremost, knowing what's important to you, like where your priorities are. As I mentioned, my girls are a huge priority of mine. My business is a huge priority of mine. So are there days where I have way more stuff to do business-wise than I do kid-wise? Yep. And I know that my priorities are I need to grow my business and do well so I can provide for my children, and I need to be there as much as I can and in the important times for my kids. So those are my priorities. The second thing is set expectations with the key stakeholders. So like my kids know what to expect from me, my clients know what to expect from me. What the general public or everybody following me online expects, I let go of that outcome because they're not my key stakeholders. My key stakeholders are my family, my closest friends, my business, and my clients. So once you set expectations, then communicate it. Let them know, hey, I'm not going to be here. We call it the Andre Girl meeting on Sunday night. So on Sunday night, I sit with the girls. I'm like, hey, here's what I have this week. I'm going to be gone these 2, this evening or this 2. Usually there's an evening or 2 a week I'm gone for something work-wise. I've gotten really critical pushback from moms and other people. Like, I can't believe you go out and it's like I'm out clubbing. I'm not hitting the clubs. I'm typically doing something with a client, something charitable, something say. I'm clean in the fact that that's what I need for me and my life and my business, and my kids are okay with that. So, they get to see a mom who's going out making some cool stuff happening and hanging out with some cool folks from a professional standpoint. That's good by me. So I think I've communicated it to the key stakeholders. And then the last piece is I let go of the input I get or the justification needed for anybody outside that group.
Okay.
That's where the 0 beeps given comes in is, you know what? I know who's important.
All right. So if we haven't set expectations going into something, what's your recommendation for how maybe we level set that relationship, right? Because it's almost like, here is some free
We've been
French
doing
fries.
it this way, right?
Yeah, and now we want you to pay $2.99 for them.
Right. Right. So I think level setting is a good word, because if the expectations were never set or are never set, it's going to continue on. It's definitely going to continue on with clients or kids. But, let's talk professional, because that was the example you gave. I would go back and level set and say, hey, you know what? And fall on the sword. Say, I want to just touch base with you because I was feeling bad. I was feeling like I couldn't get back to you quick enough. So let me just tell you, I'm always going to call you or Slack you right back as soon as I can. But sometimes I might be in the studio. I can't answer right away. So just trust that I will get with you within 24 hours, 100% of the time. If for any reason you need me sooner, shoot me a text and say, I really need you to call me as soon as possible. And I will honor that and call you the minute I can. So just setting those expectations, then they know you care. Most of the times they're going to come back and go, oh my gosh, Whitney, no, you've been great. You're always on top of it. This is fantastic. And you're wanting the reassurance is why you feel like you need to go. My guess is they're reassured already or they wouldn't be your clients. Right?
Okay. How about family wise? Maybe we're a mom, kind of feeling like we're pulled in all different directions, and we're trying to maintain that.
Wine helps with no display. Okay.
And chocolate.
Yeah, wine and chocolate. Yeah. All right, so we're trying to maintain it. Yeah.
So how do we kind of go back and say, level set that, right?
Yeah.
Like, I really kind of over committed, or maybe, sit down with the kids and saying, I haven't really been realistic about everything that I think I can accomplish.
I tell my girls we're a team. They hate doing chores. The dishwasher it is basically the devil in our house, because it's like, do the dishes. Oh my God. I mean, that's one of their chores.
Yeah.
But they have very clear expectations. Is here's what I need. And one of the things that I've started saying is, look, we're a team. I'm going to do everything I can, and I need you to do your job. And here's what that job is. Bring the dishes. They have several chores they do. Nothing huge. Nothing. I mean, they're not slaving away or anything, but they have clear expectations. I do also let them tell me what's important to them in terms of what they want to do. Like I mentioned, one of my daughters is in competitive martial arts. She has a set schedule every week. I let her pick whether or not she goes. Some days she's like, you know what? I have too much homework. I don't feel like going. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Or some days she's like, I'm really tired. My hip hurts, whatever. I'd rather stay home. Okay. I mean, so I let them drive their activities. I am a one activity parent, though. You get one thing. I mean, they get a school thing if they want to be in a school club, and then a sports. That's it. Because you can't, I've got friends whose kids are, we've got Spanish, then we've got this, they're taking Latin, then we go to piano, and then we go to, that's nuts. I mean, you just can't run yourself that ragged. So I let the kids dictate what they want to do. And I kind of help them. And then I set expectations within that. Once they commit to it, they are committed to it, though. No. Expectations and communication.
Done. I mean,
that's it. That's really it.
That's the N and the O to the no.
Yep.
Those two things.
Yeah. Because everything else that doesn't fall under that, you can just get rid of. I mean, you really can. It's easy to say no to things. What's clear, so if the kids come and say, hey, you know what, I really want to do this. I'm like, we can't. Or nope, not possible.
Yeah.
With the kids, it's a lot of, nope. You can follow that up with because I said so.
Yeah.
No, I try not to do that,
right.
But I mean, I do it a lot, but it's with kids, it's easier. You don't have to justify yourself to them. They'll say, why can't we? I'm like, because we can't. We're just not, doesn't fit. So that's kind of my answer with them. No time today.
That's good.
Yeah. That's it. Saying no.
Mic drop.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just don't explain. Or you can explain briefly, but don't feel like you have to justify your saying no. Your ability to say no to anything that you're not comfortable with, that flies in the face of your values, or that you don't have time for, it's your right. You get to do that. Mm-hmm. And if people get mad at that, I'd reevaluate if they're your people.
Nice.
So, not for everybody. All right. That's it. We're going to go make our shirts now. Motherhood is not a Pinterest board.
For sale soon.
That's right. We'll go check back soon. All right, everybody. Hopefully this gave you some tips on how to say no without justifying and explaining, setting expectations and communicating them clearly. So until next time, keep pushing past the limit.